So yesterday on April 9th, Infected mode came to Black Ops 4. Now I made a video on everything that's new in the mode, so if you want to check out all the new details on that, then feel free to check out that video. I'll leave a card on screen. But today I thought I'd give you some of my tips and help you guys to survive longer in Infected mode. Hey everyone, I'm Rage Gamer and let's get right into it. So my first tip is that right at the start of the match you want to distance yourself from people. And what I mean by this is that as soon as you spawn into the map, you want to try and spread out and get away from everyone. And the reason for this is simple. It's because you don't know who's going to become infected. So if someone near you becomes infected, there's a higher chance they might kill you and you die straight away, and that's absolutely not what you want. On the other hand, if you are actually the infected at the start of the game, then you want to make sure that people don't kill you straight away. So if you're away from everyone else, you've got a higher chance of actually killing more of the survivors. So it works both ways. And alongside this, I really suggest checking out your mini-map. So like I said, as soon as the match starts, get away from everyone and look at both the screen but also focus on the mini-map. And this is because the blue arrow of the person that becomes the infected, first of all, the arrow disappears, and so you can easily see who has become infected if they're near you. And if that happens, obviously you might want to turn around or face the direction of where they are, whoever it is, and try and kill them. It's just a little simple tip, but a lot of people overlook that. So for example, my favourite class in Infected at the moment is the Impaler class, and this is the Vapor XKG with the Strife Pistol, Molotov and perks such as Scavenger. The reason why I like this class is A, because it's a good weapon, you've got a backup pistol if you need it, and also you've got Scavenger. Scavenger is great because you can pick up lots more ammo, and so you're never going to run out of bullets. But obviously, use whatever class you want. If you're good with a sniper, use that. If you're good with LMGs, use that. If you're good with the Mog 12 shotgun, use that. However, whichever class is best for you and suits your playstyle, go with that. If you're not sure, feel free to test out each class and kind of get a feel for each one. Moving on, another good tip is to make sure you're always being aggressive near the start of the game. So you really want an aggressive playstyle towards the start of the match. And the reason for this is so that you can get more ammo and kills to start off with, because if you started camping at the very start of the game, you probably wouldn't pick up many more ammo packs if you did even have Scavenger on, and you wouldn't really be getting many kills at all because there's hardly any infected to start off with, and collectively as a group the infected are weak. However, if you then try and get more bullets and kills and stuff like that further on in the game where they're all grouped together and there's more of them, it's much more difficult, especially if you need to run out into the open and get some ammo. If you do it at the start, you're pretty safe. If you do it later on, you're a bit more at risk. So you want to be quite aggressive to start off with, get maybe, 1, 2, 3 kills depending on how quick the game's going, that kind of thing. So get a few kills, try and pick up some ammo packs if you've got Scavenger, and then you want to change your playstyle later on in the match. Be a bit more calm and focused on staying alive. So very much at the start of the game it's more you hunt the infected, and towards the end it's more the infected hunt you. So anyway, at number 4, you always want to watch your back and listen out for zombie noises in case there are any near you. What I mean by this is obviously you want to watch your back and make sure there's no zombies behind you. But in this game specifically, because the character models for the infected are zombies, they have zombie noises. And so you'll hear them making zombie groans if there's one near you. So let's just say an infected was hiding behind a wall or behind cover and they're waiting for someone to run past and then they'd go up and attack them. You'd be able to hear them because they're making zombie noises. Now they can't control it, the character just does it automatically. So make sure you listen out carefully, and if you hear it, be very cautious. Like I say, obviously just watch your back and make sure you know where you're going as well. So at number 5, this is a tip that applies more later on in the game, but definitely an important one, which is to make sure you always watch out for combat axes. What I mean by this is that the infected have unlimited combat axes, they can pick them up off the ground, and also there's a cooldown on them so they can keep getting them over and over again, and so you want to be very careful. That's their long range weapon. So if you were just standing still, there's a high chance an infected will come up, see you, even from far away, and they'll aim at you and try and get a hit on you with a combat axe. If you're moving about, you're throwing in some slides, some dodges, some jumps, some strafe left to right, different things. If you're just moving up and making the gameplay a bit more random and moving about more randomly, they're not really going to know what your next move is, and it's much more difficult to target you with the combat axe. I find that's one of the most annoying ways and most common ways to die in Infected. So you really want to make your moves all random and just don't stay in the same place. Move about so it's more difficult for them to target you with combat axe. So number 6 kind of makes it sound like I'm talking to a bunch of kids coming home late at night, but you really want to kind of group together later on in the match and, you know, have people around you to help you. So you'll often find in matches what will happen is towards the end of the game, you'll get a group of at least 5 people or so, and they'll group together in one corner of the map and they'll all just be camping and getting as many kills as possible. And it's good because if there's multiple, you know, ways for enemies to get into an area, each person will cover an exit, and then it just makes it more difficult for them and easier for you to survive. So definitely stay together after you've got a few kills and some ammo. Next up is a really important tip, and it's to reload whenever possible. So if you anticipate that someone's going to be coming around the corner, or you can see people in the distance running towards you, maybe leave it until you know that there's going to be a little break for you to have a few seconds to reload. It's really crucial because if you do it at the wrong time and an infector comes up to you, they can easily kill you when you're vulnerable like that. And if the worst comes to worst and you don't have time to reload, quickly swap to your secondary. With my class, the Impaler, you've got a Strife pistol, and that's actually really good at killing enemies, especially at close range. So just, you know, use your trigger finger with that bad boy and you'll get loads of kills for that as well. Make sure to reload and then swap back to your weapon when possible. Alright, so next at number 8, we're going to be talking about a tip which is important throughout the game, and that's that cover is key. Absolutely key. So what I mean by that is you always want to kind of keep your back covered, especially towards the end of the match, because earlier on in the match you're going to be more watching your back and just running about but being careful there's no one behind you. Later on, when you're kind of holding down an area, I'm not going to necessarily say camping, you want to make sure your back's covered, because obviously if it's not and you're just standing in the middle of the map, then there's, you know, a million different ways for them to get to you, whereas if you're towards the edge of the map, they can't come from behind you, so the only way they can come is in front where you can see them. Because trust me, it's going to get really hectic towards the end of the match when there's loads of infected. Sometimes being higher up as well is good. So for example, the tower in firing range, it's high up, it's really good. You can see pretty much all over the whole map, and they have to climb up a ladder, so it's a really good place to camp and get lots of kills in infected. Now, having said this, you want to make sure you don't overexpose yourself. What do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is, if for example you're in a room and you're standing by the window, the infected can clearly see you through the window, or if you're on top of a car or a van, you're just lying there, you're going to be an easy target. You're exposed, they can see you, and they can easily throw a combat knife at you, and you're dead. So make sure not to expose yourself. I see a lot of people getting up on cars and just, you know, doing weird stuff, just like lying there, and, you know, yes, it can work if you're sniping, but you've got to be a good sniper, and quite often they can sneak up on you and just throw a combat axe at you because you're just lying there. You're an easy target, and you want to make sure, like I said earlier, that you're moving about a lot. So really try not to expose yourself. And finally, my last tip is don't get cocky. I know it sounds stupid, but don't take it for granted like you're definitely going to win and that the infected are going to lose, because quite often it's the other way around. Now, one thing I find especially interesting is that if you've ever had those matches in infected where there's only, like, say a few people, maybe 2 or 3 infected guys, and they just can't get any more kills, which means that the timer is running down and the game is almost ending because the infected are failing to get enough people and the survivors are winning. And then you'll often see that when the timer gets down to maybe like 50 seconds, 30 seconds, you know, and then it's really getting tense, and by the last maybe 10 seconds, something like that, I don't know if it's just that the infected are like, right, we're going to give it all we got, or the survivors are being cocky and thinking, alright, we've only got 10 more seconds left, we're going to win, it's going to be fine. But I always find that if the timer's going right down to almost 0, when it gets close, practically always someone will then die in the last few seconds. And I think it's because people are quite cocky. I'll show you an example of when it happened in match to someone else. And you just want to make sure that's not you, because then obviously you die, the game continues, and you're infected. So even in the last few seconds, if the game is counting down and you've almost won, don't be sure you've won until you have. Otherwise, you might lose. But anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope you guys found these tips useful. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and why not subscribe as well? It really helps me out and you won't miss my latest videos. If you've got any more tips, feel free to leave them down below in the comments section. If there's anything I haven't mentioned, I'd love to hear it from you guys. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.